This week on the show, we have a lot of fun. What do I mean by that? I mean, this might be the most out there discussion yet. It's out there because this week we're taking a deep dive into the art house gem that is the movie Wild at Heart, the 1990 David Lynch film that, well, it's wild. And joining me on this journey is the wonderfully wild, wacky, and film conscious Jackson Banks. Jackson and I know each other from my time living in Salt Lake City. Somehow he's from there. As you'll see, Jackson is coming out swinging. Likes, dislikes, what the hell happened, and who's responsible for all this. This movie's crazy, and as we discuss, is really hard to find, too. If you know this movie, I think you're really going to enjoy the discussion. And if you don't know this movie, man, are you going to be confused. The film Wild at Heart with me and Jackson. With me today on the show is Jackson Banks, my good friend. How you doing, Jackson Banks?
We go way back.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in Salt Lake City where we met.
Yeah, I was gonna say you and I started stand up in Salt Lake.
Yeah. That's
probably around the same time, within a year of each other, probably.
Really? Yeah, I started in 2012.
Okay, I think I'm 10 or 11.
Damn. Okay.
So we're right in there.
Okay, well, fuck me. We got big daddies in the house.
A couple of veterans.
Don't tell me how to do it.
Well, like our paths like cross, lots of times, in Salt Lake because we all go to the same things.
Yeah. Well, like
how was it starting out there for you?
Starting in SLC?
Yeah. So
it was cool. It was my first. So I had begun doing stand up in the college, like the stand up comedy club at my college. So I had done stand up. I guess, does it count if it's at like college shows and like college talent shows? I mean, I was crushing, so
crushing always counts.
Huh?
Crushing always counts.
So yeah, I had done it at my college. So Wise Guys was my first experience with like a club, and it was tougher,
Mm-hmm.
But I had a couple of bouts with magic mushrooms, and I found my groove.
Oh, that's how you do it. Some people always say like, oh, I just always love writing. You're just like mushrooms.
No, well, I like had a knack. I had written some bits that were doing well, but I wasn't like, I hadn't like fully hit. It was like off and on. It was still like I was finding my footing. You know what I mean? And for some reason, and I don't know, I wrote my bit about wanting to like nuke the ocean because it freaked me out. And I also had this weird insight about like just talking real cool and like smoothing it out while I was tripping on these mushrooms with a friend who shall remain nameless. And then I like hit sort of a groove there. I don't know. And I don't use drugs because I can't have you getting to my level. Don't touch drugs.
You already brought it all around within 45 seconds.
Yeah. Don't touch those drugs.
You're from Salt Lake, or did you move there at some point? I moved there in 2006, so I'm sort of a Salt Lake transplant.
Oh, wow. I moved there in 2012 to finish college, to go to film school, which was a drag.
Ah, you're a film school guy?
Yeah. Film's my first love. Stand-up is a distant second. I love stand-up. But if let me let you in on a little secret. If stand-up hadn't like come naturally to me and it didn't go well right away, I would have quit immediately.
Put that thing in the corner with the piano and the juggling kit.
Yeah. But it I don't know. It sort of like came a little more naturally. Hence, I stayed. But yeah, I'm a fragile boy. Bombing, it's very hard on daddy.
That you're that fragile? It hurts you?
It hurts me. Yeah.
How so?
I don't know. I feel like it takes your night away, once you bomb. It's like you can't get that out of your mind. You have to go back in, to that space and like redeem yourself. That's how stand-up addicts you, is because if it goes well, you're like, well, I got to do that again. And if it doesn't go well, you're like, well, I can't have that be the last time. So
Right.
I'm like chasing the dragon in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. It's kind of like shooting free throws. They're like, well, if I make this last one, I quit. If I don't make it, I take another shot,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then I leave the gym. This is
And,
a
and
perfect segue. I didn't know you were a film school guy. I knew you were a film
oh
interested, but I
yeah,
didn't know you
yeah,
went to
yeah.
film school.
Cool. And let me tell you, the kids at film school would have hated this one. They were
Oh,
fucking
really?
square. Oh yeah, dude. Film school is like going. Your peers are basically all film critics. They believe that they're filmmakers, but they're critics.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I went to film school also for 1 year. I was a film school guy for 1 year when I first went to college.
Oh, there
So
you
this
go.
is yeah. So yeah, I hear the sentiment. Although when we talk about this movie, we're going to talk about. I had the opposite experience. Everybody loved this movie.
And
Where did you go to film school?
um, I went to the U. Went to the U's program.
Oh, okay. I went to
Hmm.
the College of Santa Fe in New Mexico.
So you went for a year?
I was a film major for a year. Yeah.
Oh wow. What made you change your mind?
Mainly grades, mainly a couple C's, and you'll change it up. But I was in over my head. That was too much for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird for me. I just didn't. I've never been a super technically minded person, and that was kind of the emphasis was learning the technical side of it. Um, and so it was to the point where it's a little mathy, where they were kind of laying out like the correct way to do things, and there wasn't. I don't know. It never felt like a place where you could be really creative. They would like lay out like some very basic video assignments for you to do and tell you what not to do, and it just I don't know, it never really felt very alive. It never felt like, and also because all the films I was making were comedies, it was hard to get any respect, you know?
Mm, comedy doesn't get a lot of respect in the film world in the same way
Well,
drama does.
I mean, can you
It's
blame
much
people?
harder medium. Yeah, yeah. In the sense you can't blame. You see where you see the lay of the land. You're like, okay, I see what's going to hit and what's not going to hit.
Yeah, but it's also like it's can you blame people? Because most comedies, it's like, oh, we'll just shoot the actors saying the funny lines and then that'll be it. But like I just don't feel like a comedy should ever be any less than like great cinema. It should be beautifully shot. I think a movie can be funny and be good cinema. Like I feel like The Big Lebowski is a pretty good example of I mean, and Wild at Heart as well. Wild at Heart is a little more of a black comedy.
Yeah.
But flicks
Well,
like Big
let's
Lebowski where it's artfully done, but it's also hilarious. I think that should be the goal of any comedy director.
let's get into it. We're reviewing today, you and I, the film Wild at Heart from 1990. The
1990.
the art house film school darling of film and independent uh, projects.
Lynch. Lynch
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. David Lynch. I'll give you a quick breakdown
Mm,
of the movie. Here's the quick review. Wild at Heart, 1990, directed by David Lynch, adapted from the novel by Barry Gifford. And the synopsis is after
boring.
serving after serving prison time for a self-defense killing, Sailor Ripley reunites with his girlfriend, Lula Fortune. Lula's mother, Marietta, desperate to keep them apart, hires a hitman to kill Sailor. But he
Mm.
finds a whole new set of troubles when he and Billy Peru and another buddy who's out to get Sailor try to rob a store. Sailor lands in jail again. Young lovers appear further than ever from their shared life, which they covet. Jackson, what do we love about this movie?
It's visceral. It's very in your face all the time. Every moment of the film is extremely intense, and it's hilarious. It's like David Lynch doing rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
they have the rock out scene, and they have the scene where he gets the hair metal people to doo wop with him while he sings Elvis.
right? It's going a lot of directions at once for me.
Yeah,
If I
and
were to
I
describe it, you're on a ride, and it's not just going to go up and down. It's going to go a lot of different directions.
You just
Yeah.
got to know that going in.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. If it's not for children, it's not for babies, it's not for women, it's not for
It's not for women.
the
Why is it
film.
not for women?
The film is only for white men, Lynch
This is a
said in
dude movie.
commentary. No, no, no. I disagree. No, I think the film is pretty progressive in how raw it presents like the female experience. The stuff that Lulu goes through is pretty gets pretty real, you know. Did you
Very,
watch?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so the government didn't allow us to watch the film. It's not available anywhere
yeah.
online.
I was gonna say this is a hard movie to find to rewatch.
I'm not sure why, because I was wondering if it was because of like some of the content, but as far as like the film dealing with like sexual assault, it never goes to the lengths that Blue Velvet does. Blue Velvet has a much more hardcore sexual assault scene than Wild at Heart does.
Yeah, really hard to find this movie. Tons of content and like stuff you can find online about the movie, but the actual movie is really, really hard to find a copy of. It's streaming absolutely nowhere. You can't rent it. You can't buy it. It's a mystery in itself trying to watch this movie. I did
Yeah,
some I
I
did
feel
some
like it's
deep.
fitting that we had to like view it piece by piece because the film is pretty fragmented. It is very much, it feels like a series of like pieces, you know. The narrative is not cohesive in a traditional sense because it's Lynch, you know. It's like dream logic and it's all from the gut, you know. Lynch
Yeah,
is all from the gut.
here's what I found in my deep research. Two things. It won the Cannes Film Festival Award,
It's the Fist Award
the
that we did.
festival award.
This movie, yeah.
Uh,
If this
it
movie
won,
were
it won the Cannes Film Award.
a sexual act, it would be fisting. It's very intense.
Marietta Lula's mother is played by her real life mother, Diane Ladd.
Oh, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and if you don't know who that is, Diane Ladd is Clark Griswold's mother in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh,
That's who that actress is, and she got nominated for two Best Supporting Actress awards from this movie.
she plays
So
the mother in. She doesn't seem
Christmas
that. I
Vacation,
feel like she is Chevy Chase's age.
she might be.
Yeah, but that's Hollywood. Yeah.
She's an
Have you
excellent actress.
Yeah, yeah. Hollywood is. If you ever look back at any decade, it's like you'll recognize all the male stars and the female stars will have vanished because they turn
They
30.
go away.
Yeah, yeah. They turn 30 and are killed. But where were we?
Where did you first watch this movie? First viewing.
The year was 2019, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like fall 2019, late summer. Yeah, it had been. I'd always been a David Lynch fan, and I'd watched all the Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet, and there's still a couple I haven't seen, but you know, Eraserhead. But something still felt kind of incomplete about his body of work, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But when I watched Wild at Heart, it felt sort of complete to me. Put it on in my buddy's room, put it on the big screen, the projector, and changed my life. It knocked Brazil out of the top spot as my favorite film.
2019, you saw it, you instantly loved it.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I was like, this movie is me.
Well,
It's
I
like,
had to rewatch it because the first time I saw it, it was probably 1999, and it was a very smoky dorm room that I watched it in.
oh, you guys were getting blazed watching Wild at Heart.
Yeah, yeah. Well, freshmen, we're all film schooling it up, super smoky, talking
Mm-hmm.
talking film
Mm-hmm.
school logic, and so I didn't piece together a lot of the movie in that first viewing.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a little clouded. I just know, like, dude, there's stuff happening here. I'm gonna have to process this later.
I mean, yeah. The movie it's about any Lynch film is less about the plot and the structure and more about the experience you have while you are watching it. And this film
Yeah.
is 100% in your face at all times. It's extremely violent, extremely sexual. There's some heaviness. Willem Dafoe assaults Laura Dern in one of the most intense scenes of all time.
Very intense, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Essentially, he coerces her, and he's like, "Say, fuck me, say, fuck
Yeah,
me."
like 20 times.
Yeah. And then finally, she gives in and says, "Fuck me," and he goes, "Yeah, maybe later."
Right. It really lets the air out of the balloon quick. And at some point you watch it, and in like the 20th time he says it, I think I said it at some point. I'm getting hypnotized by William Dafoe here.
Yeah. Defoe's a silver-tongued devil. Yeah, I called him up. I called Defoe. I got his private line, and I said, but yeah, no, Lynch has that weird blending. And I was watching the review. Ebert definitely didn't get it. He was like, he's using these punchlines to sort of like not take responsibility for these scenes he's putting on the screen. It's the
Right.
opposite. The scenes are arguably more offensive because he ends them with, punchlines. But yeah, that's Lynch's way. He blends the horror and the comedy and the light and the dark, just kind of like smashes them together pretty, side by side.
Well, you bring up a good part now. The reviews, the Siskel and Ebert reviews, the David Lynch explanation of it are like a wide spectrum. I wrote down what Roger Ebert said. He says, "What bothers me the most about David Lynch is his only kidding syndrome. I wish he had the nerve to make the movie he wants to make instead of trying to sugarcoat it all with swarmy parody." And I will say, like, okay, fine criticism, but this is not a movie where you can apply normal storyline criticism to. It's just a different thing. You just can't. So he did not like it.
Yeah, he makes exactly the movie he wants to make. He's
right.
definitely.
I'm like, well, whose movie is he making? He's making his movie.
Yeah. No, I just think that's the thing. And that's what film school felt like for me. It's like people that, have a strong opinion about movies, but at the end of the day, they don't really make movies, or they haven't made movies. You know what I mean? I just, critics, I still have that same, I mean, it's a pretty, that's the stereotype that the artists kind of hate the critics, and I mean, but why not? Because it's the critics don't get dirty. They don't put their hands in the mud. They don't make anything. They just kind of sit back and, and flick their wrists and say, you should do it better.
Yeah. Well,
And it's
they always feel the artist's job is to create, and wherever it goes, it goes. And if it's criticized poorly, fine. If it's criticized well, fine. But the job is to create, and then you just let the lay of the land happen to where it happens to be. But I mean, Wild at Heart is 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's a general appreciation for the film.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. I think it's some of his best work.
Underrated 65.
Oh yeah, that's definitely underrated. I think it's better than Drive, to be honest.
Here's David Lynch had two quotes about the movie that I really like. In life, you never know where it's going to go to come along. Hold on. In life, you never know what's going to come along next. There's very tender moments. There's very violent moments. There's confusion and despair. And suddenly,
there's violent moments. That's life.
There's got to be room for all these in film. Wild at Heart is a love story that barrels along down a strange highway through the twisted modern world. I think that's a good synopsis. That's a good little breakdown of what you're about to engage in.
Yeah, but really, words can't really describe this film. It's very colorful.
No, they cannot.
Yeah. You really kind of have to see for yourself and know what you're getting into. Fun fact. Well, firstly, I want to just say one last thing about the critics. Siskel and Ebert, they didn't like the film or fully understand it. Siskel was a little more self-aware and being like, maybe I don't fully get it. You know what I mean? He appreciated it, but they gave it 2 thumbs down, right?
I think they did, but Gene Siskel liked it a little more than.
What happened to those 2 men?
What happened? Personally?
What happened to those 2?
They were not fans. What's their deal?
No, they're dead. They're gone.
They're film critics. They got to know art and experimental films happen. I don't know why they.
You don't criticize the master, and that's why those 2 men are in the ground now. because they didn't like the film. I believe that's yeah. Yeah, God struck them down. He gave you both of them cancer.
Wow, if they'd
So
only given a
I mean,
thumbs
if you
up.
want to avoid cancer, maybe you ought to like the film. Is what I'm saying.
Well, hey, they should have reviewed. They should have reviewed it favorably. Give it at least half a thumbs up. What about a 0.5? That's the problem with that
Yeah,
system. Sometimes you don't.
why don't they ever give
Yeah.
the teetering? It's
What
crazy that
about? I'm
thumbs
thinking
up.
about it.
They're literally deriving that from the Colosseum. That's where thumbs
Yeah.
up and thumbs down comes from.
Chase, the original version of reviewing something.
God,
Thumbs
yeah,
up, thumbs
God gave those two thumbs down.
down. He was not a fan. It's so
No,
hard to
no,
put this
I
movie into words that I think a bunch of categories that I made for it kind of help. So
you say?
first, I made a bunch of categories for the movie because it's hard to describe this movie. So first one for you, what do you think the scene of the movie is?
The scene of the movie?
Yeah, what's your favorite scene?
I think the ending. That was what clinched it for me. When there's a certain Elvis song. He says, "I only sing that to the girl that I marry," and then he grabs her and he sings that like how it ties it up in a campy little bow after everything you've been through. And yeah, I think the ending is that's the scene that really made the movie for me.
My favorite scene is when Sailor gets out of jail and Lula's picking him up and gives him the snakeskin jacket.
Mm-hmm.
He breaks down perfectly. He gets a snakeskin jacket. He does his speech about personal freedom, and then they're off. But like, think about like what a day Sailor's having. Number one, he's getting out of jail. Hot Laura Dern is picking him up. They're gonna go bang in a hotel room, and then they're gonna go to this crazy metal concert. You can't get a better day than that.
Yeah, it's a good day.
That sets me up for the movie. I'm like, I'm in for a wild ride now.
Yeah, that made me want to go to jail if that's what happens.
Right, I want to go to jail too now. This movie's motivated me in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, I want to kill.
I got
trivia.
honorable. Oh, go ahead.
So fun trivia. You know the lady, the hit lady that goes, "Fuck me now, Reggie."
Yeah.
Yeah. I've met her twice in L.A. I bumped into her at 2 different grocery stores.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's very intense. She plays Laura Palmer's mom on Twin Peaks.
Did you talk about Wild at Heart?
I mean, I just told her I liked her work. She's she's as spooky. She looks as spooky as she does in those films. She has a really intense thinking. Yeah, I creeped her out real good. I was like, "Here, you my mother."
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. No, I didn't say that, but I like couldn't stop staring at her because it was, I think she's the biggest star in the world. I think.
And you saw her twice?
Yeah. I bumped into her 2 times. I said, "I love your work," and she goes, "Oh," like.
What about the second time? You're like, "Hey, it's me again. Still love your work."
No, I just sort of stared at her and she got weirded out. I just wanted to watch her shop, and it was perfect because in Twin Peaks season 3, she like has a meltdown in the grocery store. So I was just like trying to trigger that and capture it.
Yeah, maybe she drew upon her experience with you creeping her out for the scene to have the breakdown.
That was already done.
Oh.
Yeah, they'd already filmed that. But maybe in some kind of time warp Lynch hole. A Lynch hole, my friend called it. Maybe I sort of influenced that. I did a little bit of time travel, yeah.
Well, a boy can dream.
A boy can dream of time travel.
I give an honorable mention to a favorite scene when Lula tells Sailor that she's pregnant and he lights 2 cigarettes at once in his mouth and starts smoking 2 cigarettes at once.
Oh yeah. Fuck, I was able to rewatch. Yeah, kind of in like her name.
Yeah, she doesn't want to. She's like, I can't tell you what I'm about to say, so I'll write it down. She writes on a piece of paper, "I'm pregnant," and then Nicolas Cage Sailor lights 2 cigarettes, puts them in his mouth, and starts smoking 2 cigarettes at once. This is a great smoking movie, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Great smoking movie. A lot of great lighting of the cigarette. A lot of great throwing the cigarette out of your mouth. Excellent smoking movie.
Yeah. I wish I was manly enough to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, this definitely inspires you to smoke, I think. Okay,
Um,
what about next category? And I don't even think it's fair for this movie, but it's called Plot the Hole. Are there any plot holes in this movie?
I don't think that really applies to Lynch.
No, because there's too many avenues you can go down
Yeah,
already with if you're
like
just following logic,
you could just be like, where did the fairy godmother come from?
right? The
You know?
only plot hole or question that like I have with these two would be like, would these two people be into thrasher metal? They're from this small
Yeah,
town
that's a plot
in
hole.
Texas,
It's
and they
southern.
want to. They're hell bent on thrash metal, but every song that Nicolas Cage sings is like an Elvis ballad. So
Yeah, he converts them. He gets them to
it was
stop the metal,
yeah,
and
it
then
was
they
tough. Yeah,
but
that's right. He stops the concert. So that was my only question. Was like, are these guys really into thrasher metal?
yeah, that's you're right. It's a terrible film. I think you've totally described it.
He flipped you. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you back.
Yeah, he ruined it for me.
Okay, how about highly quotable quote of the movie? What's the best line in the
Um,
movie?
probably this snakeskin jacket represents my belief in personal freedom. Um,
Definitely a great quote.
yeah. What else? Fuck me now, Reggie is good. Um, I'm gonna get that silver dollar. Willem Dafoe has a lot of good lines.
Hmm.
Look like you fuck like a bunny.
Oh yeah, his creepy scene was
Willem,
excellent.
yeah, Willem Dafoe is every man's penis. That's who he plays in this film.
William Defoe with the creepy slick hair with the messed up teeth.
Oh yeah, he's so nasty.
Here's my quote of the movie for me. Sailor, you got me hotter than Georgia asphalt. I'll
That's
take that. I'll take that quote 10 times a day.
you got me. Oh, she says like she's horny. You got me hotter
Yeah,
than.
yeah, she's into him. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I think there's like four really intense sex scenes between them in that movie. They do it a lot.
they do, which makes it really motivating to find the real movie and watch it.
I mean, kudos to Sailor for a woman wanting to have sex with him more than once.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
what a
that's
like at the base of this, like what a great love story. She is really into Sailor. You gotta give her that.
yeah,
She's a
yeah.
devoted woman.
Well, I'm sure Sailor, I'd be into him if he got me as hot as Georgia Asphalt.
I
It
also like the quote when she picks him up from
Huh?
I also like the quote when she picks him up from jail and she says like, we're going to the metal show, and Nicolas Cage jumps in the car and says, stab it and steer. I've never heard anybody say that in my life. I
Happening
love it. And
Sailor.
she puts it in gear and they peel out.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah,
second place for me for most quotable.
yeah, I wish the government had allowed me to watch the film. I may have found some more quotable stuff.
Those two are my
Uh,
favorite. See if I wrote any others down.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I probably the winner is probably fuck me now, Reggie, because that's what we say over breakfast every day at my house. Me and my roommate. Fuck me now, Reggie.
you got to start your day off right.
Yeah.
Only
Um.
other quote I had when Lula's sitting in bed and she says, "This world is wild at heart and weird on top." I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good quote too. I like when the title of the movie's worked into the dialogue.
Yeah, yeah. That apparently that's a cinema rule. You get critical points when you say the
Hmm.
name in the dialogue.
Yeah, I don't want to step on my future research toes, but it's also in another great Nicolas Cage movie I love called The Rock. When Sean Connery says, "Welcome to The Rock," I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Nick Cage.
Okay,
Right.
how
What
about
else?
next category? Another tough one for this movie. Recast it. What if you recasted the movie? Do you want to
Oh,
switch it up
man.
with anybody? I only came up with the two major characters of suggestions, and I don't even know if I like them, to be honest.
I would say Jessica Alba and me.
Ooh,
Several really
ooh, the
sexy.
first ever cast yourself nomination.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Alba just banging all the time, except she doesn't get pregnant. There are no consequences. She doesn't love me. We're just using each other for 2 hours.
Ooh, this took a turn. Now you're making my suggestion seem extremely tame.
What's
I
your
had,
suggestion?
I had Sailor, Billy Bob Thornton,
That's a good one.
and Lula Jennifer Tilly. I couldn't think of anyone else crazy weird that could pull it
Jennifer
off.
Tilly? Who's
I'm not
Jennifer
even.
Tilly?
Jennifer Tilly
You don't
is.
know who she is? Suggested her?
She's in a bunch of movies. She was. Let me think. She was in a Jim Carrey movie, I think. She's in a bunch of independent movies. You'll know her if you punch her up on Google. You'll recognize her face.
I'm gonna look her up.
Yeah, check her out real quick while I.
Is she cute? Did you date her?
Oh, very. She's
Oh,
along the.
Jennifer Tilly. That's a
You see, you
very
know what I'm
weird.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah. You didn't know we can't go on with you.
Right. Like that voice might work for the Lula character.
You better love it in my husband, Sailor.
Okay.
Thank you for taking custody away from my husband. That movie, I was not ready to see that film when I was like 6. When they play a fucking sex tape in the court.
I'm still not ready to see that movie.
That movie's hard. Yeah, the custody, that my parents were divorced, so all the custody stuff always messed with my head. Watching the men get castrated in the courtroom.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, divorced dads. I think that's why I don't ever want to be monogamous or get married, is because I don't want to become a divorced dad. But that's a story.
Like a preemptive strike.
Yeah. I abort the baby before it's aborted. It's a pre-abortion. A preemptive abortion. It's called only ejaculating 2 hours after or before, never during.
I think someone has a new Twitter handle there, Jackson Banks. That's
Never
pretty good. Never ejaculate 2 hours before.
Never during.
You can't argue with success.
You can't argue with success. I'm out of it. This workout really wiped me out. Was my energy low? Am I good?
Yeah, you surprised me. You were like, I wanna do this, have this talk about this movie, but I gotta work out. I didn't see you as scheduling a lot of working out. What'd you do?
Did some push-ups, did some crunches, lifted some weights,
No kidding.
Yeah. It was a big deal. Big deal. Yeah, I'm shredded. But I'll show you later. I am shredded.
That'll be episode 2 of this.
Yeah, let's just
of this movie review. It'll be a review of Jackson Banks's abs.
It'll be you and me recreating the sex scenes and all the honey.
I'll get the cigarettes.
Yeah. Get the smokes.
All right. What about next super tough category? Rewrite the movie. If you got to rewrite this thing, what are you gonna do?
Oh man. I think doesn't Nicolas Cage never actually find out what Bobby Peru did to Lula? I
never saw that he found out when Bobby Peru tried to assault him.
Yeah. I would maybe have him find out and maybe have him kill Bobby.
That's good.
That's
because Sailor's not avert to killing people. He kills the dude at the beginning, so it would be nice if he got the guy.
Yeah, I would have been nice to see Sailor waste him. Instead, when he dies, he goes, "Poor bastard."
Right, he has sympathy for him of all things. When Bobby Peru accidentally shoots, what happened? He accidentally shoots himself, Bobby Peru.
Yeah,
or he gets shot.
The cop shoots the shit out of him, and he falls on his double barrel, and his head.
Right, that's right. His head blows apart,
and his head just becomes pantyhose. I mean, he's not panties on the brain. He's a hound dog.
He's a hound dog. He was just a good old-fashioned horn dog.
It was just a horn dog. He didn't deserve what they did to him, except when he did. I don't want to rewrite this movie. That's the great thing about Lynch is he doesn't give you what you want, but he gives you what you didn't realize you needed, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to rewrite it either because it's its own thing. But if I did, I would have, since this happens in 1990, I would have Sailor become a .com millionaire, but he's still wild. Like he's like a John McAfee guy. Like he's wild still. He's living in different parts of the world. He's on the run. So I
Mhm.
still have him wild, but he's a .com millionaire.
Wait, there were .com millionaires in the 90s?
Well, the start. So say Sailor like starts a .com sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he becomes a .com millionaire.
That's
So,
your suggestion, is that he gets into
mm-hmm,
web investing.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He
Where,
takes a hard.
where did this come from? Where did you get
Uh,
that idea?
oh, my idea.
Yeah, why that? Of all
Well,
the
I
things.
want him to like have a reason to continue to be wild. So if he has a bunch of money, he can do whatever he wants. He can live wherever he wants. He can be on the run.
As a
So I figured he could be a millionaire somehow.
what would his website look like?
Let me see if he would build a website. He
Probably
would
just
probably,
Lula.
yeah, it's all pictures of her and like their cat.
Yeah, don't touch.
You can look, but you can't touch. What about, okay, here's my favorite part. Pending questions of the movie. Nicolas Cage's hair, question mark. Is this peak Nicolas Cage hair? He's got it slick. He's got it like sticking out a couple of times. It's
Maybe.
all over the place. I love it.
I think Raising Arizona might have a beat. His hair in Raising Arizona is pretty apt.
Great Cage hair in that movie.
Yeah, adaptation. He's got a little like fro thing going on. It's hard to pick with Nick's hair.
Very hard. I like its versatility in this movie because it's slick when he gets picked up from jail. It's all in his eyes when he does the singing at the show, and then at the end when he runs away from those cholo dudes, it's like sticking out from the sides and nowhere else. So I like the versatility of the Nick Cage hair in this movie.
You're allowed to say cholo, yeah?
Yeah, you're allowed. I deem you allowed too.
Oh, cholo.
Cholo.
That felt good. I finally got to release all that tension.
See, I told you stuff happens here. It's almost therapeutic.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, this movie, I wish I could really sum it up. It's hard to describe. I think that everyone who happens to watch this needs to find that film, but they're going to have to torrent it because it's illegal to acquire.
My next pending question. This was my biggest one, though. My biggest hope or desire for the movie. Should this have been Laura Dern's character in Jurassic Park?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Because this
yeah.
happens in 1990. Jurassic Park's 3 years later. Wouldn't it be awesome if this was her in Jurassic Park?
Yeah. I think that would have been better. Dr. Hammond, I think we're back in business.
This Tyrannosaurus is all over me like a stink on a June bug.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love that Jurassic Park?
Yeah. She just like gets it on with the raptor.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking more with Jeff Goldblum.
No, it's gotta be reptilian.
With the raptor?
Yeah, dude. That scene where she first gets chased, that's just her getting just ravished.
I don't hate that.
Just getting worked over by them Procompsognathus.
Last pending question. How long does the relationship last between Lula and Sailor after this movie?
It's forever. He's saying Elvis to
They go forever.
Yeah, they go forever. They never die.
Okay.
They become part of a government program to make super and their love is cloned throughout the
forever and ever. Lula and Sailor. Who's the MVP of the movie for you?
Oh man, of the movie, like acting wise, or
whatever you want it to be. Who's your favorite?
I think I got to go with Defoe. His performance is, and that might be biased just because I know that's who I would have been cast as, is Willem Dafoe's character.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I thought he gave a very bold performance. It was some of the nastiest shit ever put on the screen. He's a very
He
brave
gets
man.
nasty. He takes it to a 10
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't blame any especially any woman who was like, you know what, the film's not for me because Willem
I
Dafoe,
wouldn't either. You're right.
yeah, Willem Dafoe is horrifying in this film. It's the same as you know, I love Bukowski, but if a woman's like, I don't like Bukowski, I'm like, that's fair.
Sure. Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
Some not every movie's gonna bat 1,000. It's fair.
yeah,
I
not every movie, but I'll say that the film itself is more progressive in that it's kind of like it kind of details what you know Lulu has been through some shit, you know.
Right. She's a pretty strong character in the movie. She's
Yeah,
not docile or passive.
yeah,
She's my favorite of the movie is Lula, Laura Dern. 10 out of 10 for me. I'll take
yeah,
her. I'll watch her on screen every day. She's smoking hot in this movie and
yeah, yeah.
really well written and funny.
Okay. I thought she was great, mainly her ass. That's huge. Look, she's smoking hot. Career
That's not
defining
discount.
performance.
Great ass. She had
Um,
she had a lot going for
and the Oscar goes to Laura Dern's ass.
her. Excellent.
She's yeah, she's cool. I'm glad Laura Dern's getting a resurgence, you know. I mean,
She's good in everything.
yeah, yeah. She's back.
Um, what else? Final takeaway?
Um, it made me the man I am today.
I say, final takeaway. If you watch this movie, you just got to buckle up
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's I don't think
know
it's for
what's gonna happen.
everyone, but it's definitely
No,
the kind of movie I like to make and therefore I guess like to see is a super visceral like and the same with music. I just like the feeling of like what the fuck is happening, you know.
definitely don't watch this movie with your parents.
Don't watch it with your parents, don't watch it on the first date.
Mm.
I would say I would put a hard trigger warning on it. I mean, but not in a, it's not a, I don't think it's a problematic film, but it's hardcore.
Hmm.
It's not for the faint of heart, you know.
That's fair rating for it.
Yeah,
You're just gonna go to places in this movie. Don't worry, the ride will end at some point, but just
yeah,
be
yeah,
ready for some stuff.
yeah. But you will earn that happy ending. You are gonna, yeah. I don't know. I like the philosophy of the movie because there is a nice like ribbon happy ending, but the everything the characters go through is so hardcore before they get there. I like movies that acknowledge that life is hardcore because it's you know I imagine this film is a lot more honest about life than Wild at Heart, the TV series about that family on safari. When you Google Wild at Heart, that's what comes up now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I had the same experience. Most definitely.
I was
It
tempted to
is
binge
it's its
that
own.
and to discuss that show with you.
Well, I think you summed it up pretty good. You put a good bow on it. That it does.
Mhm.
It puts a good ribbon on the end of it. It's crazy,
Mhm.
but it takes you to some place. Give it some credit. It takes you to an ending.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Final takeaway, it's great. I think it's very underrated. I think Siskel and Ebert deserved what they got for disliking the film. Hey, I'm kidding around. I respect their contribution to cinema. Um, I just don't, yeah, I don't like watching critics. I just would much rather watch directors review films, you know. I would take a Tarantino review over a Siskel and Ebert any day, you know. You know what I
Fair.
mean? Because I was just like, well, I don't know if this film really worked, you know. you know, and they never really get the movie. You know what I mean?
I hear you, and I agree. That's a fair
I think
criticism of.
every critic should get cancer. When I went to film school, I should get cancer.
We did it, Jackson Banks. You and I are truly wild at heart.
We are wild at heart.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. I hope this went well.
Thank you, everyone who listened. Thank you, Jackson Banks. Thank you, David Lynch. And thank you, Nicolas Cage's hair. Couldn't have done it without you. That conversation went places we can never come back from. Hey, it's a weird movie. I knew it was going to get uncomfortable. But I suggest you see it, but not with a parent. or family member. Watch it alone. It's better that way. Next week, another episode of Running It Back. Tell your friends. You'll love it. Be well, everyone.